Hello and welcome to this week's procurement tip, which is actually going to be two tips. We're going to be talking about the PO info column, my favorite column in ConnectWise PSA. And we're also going to talk about leveraging purchase order statuses. So if you want to take the next step and improve communication across your departments when it comes to procurement in ConnectWise, follow these two tricks. When we are looking at any project, let's say we're in a project and we're here on the product tab, I can very easily see what products I need, but not much else. So if I wanted to know where these Cat 6 cables were or this piece of inventory, normally I'd probably just email procurement, message them on Teams, send them a Slack message, and ask them where this product was. Has it been purchased? Has it come in yet? I might have a lot of questions about this. Now, ConnectWise actually answers a lot of this already. You just need to bring the PO info column into view. And the PO info column is here in my view. It may be hiding in your little gear on one of your hidden columns. So if it is a hidden column, make sure you move that over to the visible column section. Once you have it visible, I do highly recommend bringing that PO info somewhere you can see it. And we're going to start to dive into what this PO info tells us. For this PO info, I know that all three of these products have been put on purchase order number 33. And I know that none of the products have been received because the product status for each of them is open. This line right here tells you the exact status of that product. This tells you the status of the purchase order. So the purchase order as a whole, this individual line, which means that if in my PO one of these were to be received, so let's say on that purchase order, something came in and let's say that the piece of inventory got received, I can see on my project that that is going to update. So going back into my project, I'll be able to tell that that has been received. It's extremely useful, but not often used. So I do recommend implementing the PO info column everywhere in your system. It's not just available on the project module, it's also available on service tickets and on sales orders. So you can see this column on all three of those. Because this one piece of inventory was received, I can see that it's received. It's probably sitting in the warehouse right now, allocated to the job and ready to go out the door. I don't need to send an email. I don't need to ask any questions. I can tell that this has been received just by looking at it right here. If you want to take this to the next level, then we're going to start using that PO status a little bit more. Out of the box, you don't have a lot of PO statuses, usually just new and closed. But if you go into your system, setup tables, you can start to put in more purchase order statuses. And here are some examples I like to use. When I'm doing a PO status, I like to indicate if the purchase order is on hold. So maybe something has happened where there's an issue, or if it's a drop ship especially, on hold, vendor needs more information is a very useful status. So you could add that status. You could also say that it's being held for shipping, or maybe there's a requires escalation. If there's going to be a rush charge associated, if a manager needs to approve this, then why not add a requires escalation status as well? To add any new status, you would just hit the plus sign, type out your status, indicate the sort order. You can also add email notifications if something goes into that status. So in the case of requires escalation, maybe every time a purchase order goes into requires escalation, I'm going to send that to the service manager and say, hey, can you take a look at this? This purchase order is being escalated. Once you have some different purchase order statuses, you can change the PO. So on our PO that we started with, it's not just going to be a new anymore. Maybe after we receive that first product, it's now going to be on hold. So I'm going to save this as being an on hold purchase order. Going back to my project, and I'm going to refresh this. That's right here. So this whole PO is on hold, vendor needs more information, and the product status is open, which means these products are at risk. But I'm getting so much information right here from this PO info section, and I don't need to ask anyone because it's all going to be updated there in real time as procurement updates the purchase order headers and receives the products. So make sure you're using the PO info column and that everyone in your organization is as well. Like and subscribe. Let me know if you have any questions about procurement. I'm happy to answer.